delivering food and drinks to your guests and delivering exceptional service. Coming up next in our episode of Service That Sells. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Sponsored by Instruis Publishing. Instruis Publishing Company is founded on the belief that the world is safer and more secure utilizing the concept of perfection through education. Also by Workplace Languages. In today's global business climate, Workplace Languages closes the communication gap by providing instant solutions to all language-related issues.
Hello and welcome back to Service That Sells. I'm Sarah Tim.
And I'm Joshua Kiefer. Today on our episode of Service That Sells, we are going to be addressing the proper ways to set and maintain your table, as well as hear from Katie on the correct way to serve food and drink to the table.
That's right. And proper etiquette to me is always something fun to find out about. There are always those special little tips and facts that you can use in your life as a server.
Yeah, I think I remember watching a movie when I was a child, and in the movie, a young girl was setting a table, and the mom gave her such a hard time because she set the table and she turned the blade of the knife away from the plate, and she grabbed it and slammed it back down correctly and said that the blade of the knife always goes in. Funny as that may sound.
Don't let that be you.
Well, and don't watch that movie. The ending was awful. But in all honesty, that was one little bit of table etiquette that stuck with me forever. And so I do like to learn the right ways to do. To your point, like, it's nice to know that. And as a server, the more knowledge you have on the way to correctly, deliver a glass, small things. And I think I've heard Katie mention it before in some of our other sessions about how even just taking a glass of water or your beverage and holding it from the base of the glass versus putting your hand where someone may be drinking. Small things that are going to go a long way. So I think she's going to jump into all of this. I'm excited about it. She's standing by. So Katie, take it away.
Place setting procedures may differ depending on the restaurant's theme, but one thing's for sure: guests need clean utensils in order to enjoy their meals. Sometimes you may need to set the table after guests are seated. Do this as quickly as you can with as little disruption to the guests as possible. Lay the napkin and fork on the left and walk around and place the knife and spoon on the right. Avoid reaching across the customer unless it is absolutely necessary, such as with booth seating. Always have cutlery and napkins at the table before your food arrives. If guests have to wait for you to go find silverware after you've placed their food in front of them, it may affect their overall satisfaction with the entire meal. Like many other moments of truth, your manager may have some specific procedures for you to follow when delivering food. Be sure you stick to the script. And here are some general guidelines that will help you ace the food delivery part of the show. When serving drinks, always handle the glass by the base, not near the mouth. If guests order coffee or tea, make sure accompaniments such as sugar, sweeteners, lemon, and stirring spoons are on the table before or when you bring the drinks. It should never be after. Keep water glasses filled throughout the meal. If your restaurant offers free refills on other drinks, take care of them before guests have to ask. When refilling drinks, always handle glasses from the base. Never put your fingers near the rim of the glass, and don't touch the pitcher to the glass that you're filling. Appetizers add value to the guest experience and help pass the time while guests are waiting for their meals. Bring all of the appetizers to the table at the same time, unless you have determined that the guests would like them staggered or delivered with the main course. As soon as you deliver the appetizers, don't leave the table before checking to see if anyone needs condiments or drink refills. Give guests plenty of time to eat their appetizers, and clear the appetizer dishes before you bring the main course. When picking food up from the kitchen, don't have tunnel vision. Pause and actually look at the food. Food should look and smell appetizing and arrive exactly how the guests have ordered it. While getting food out to guests quickly is important, don't let that get in the way of accuracy. Both are critical parts of the show. Whenever possible, deliver all meals or entrees at the same time. Serve food in the same sequence you used to take the order, such as serving women and older guests first. Don't reach right in front of guests. and be careful not to invade their personal space when placing plates in front of them. Avoid having to ask guests who had what dish. Follow your restaurant's procedures, which usually involve using your order ticket to determine which guest has which dish. And warn customers if food or plates are very hot. Knowing the basics of delivering food is important, and so is delivering it with a flair for exceptional service.
Thank you so much, Katie. I certainly like the idea of making sure we don't have tunnel vision in the restaurant industry. Knowing what plate goes for what guest, it looks like a small thing, but they call it auctioning off the food. You never want to see or be in a place as a guest to have your food auctioned off. And as a server, you have to go the extra mile and make sure if it is your table in your station that you're, informing your service assistants or your fellow, maybe you have a food runner in your restaurant, maybe it's other servers that are helping you with that. But that's something that really, really can turn a normal dining experience and an okay dining experience into a great dining experience.
That's really interesting, the whole auctioning off your food thing, because that's happened to me so many times in restaurants. I just started to accept that that was the norm, but then I go to think of those times I had in restaurants where that doesn't happen, whether it's a large group of people or not. And I can honestly say that for me as a diner, the experience to not have, okay, who ordered the chicken cordon bleu and who ordered the pizza? It really does make a difference when your server knows everything, know-it-all, knows exactly who ordered what and where.
Well, you make the point exactly. So many people have become used to it. So what you're doing is you're offering excellent service.
Right.
And so to be able to do that sets you apart. So that's what we want to do, and that's what Katie's helping us do. She's going to dive into even more of the ways that we can improve our service. But before she does that, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Susan Algio, one of the authors of the Shore Food Safety Employee Manual for Food Service and Retail Establishments. The big 8 allergens, which are the 8 most common allergens in the United States, include milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, soy, wheat, peanuts, and tree nuts. It's important that we protect our customers that have food allergies. Every establishment is different, but you need to make sure that you have designated equipment so that there's no cross-contact between products that contain the food allergens that we're serving to our customers. We must wash our hands and change gloves as we prepare the product for those customers.
Welcome to Workplace Languages. My name is Ed Rossheim, and I founded Workplace Languages in 1998. From the beginning, our motto has always been, any language, any industry, anytime. Workplace Languages started as a corporate language training company with the intent of teaching companies the specific phrases and terminology that they needed to be successful and to get their point across. Be it in Spanish, English as a second language, Chinese, or any other language. This grammatical give them what they need approach has helped improve retention of workers, increase productivity, and improve customer service.
And welcome back. In this next segment of Service That Sells, we're going to be talking to Katie again, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about how to deliver exceptional service from the time that you put down the plate of food to the time that you clear that plate of food.
Right.
So let's head over to Katie right now.
Thank you, Sarah. Food and drinks are only part of the guest experience. Like special effects in a show, service is what sets you apart from your competition. Exceptional service adds value to the experience, creates a positive impression of the restaurant, and is what ultimately brings your guests back. There are several moments of truth throughout the guest meal where you have opportunities to not just deliver food and drinks, but to also deliver exceptional service. Let's take a look at some ways you can make your service really stand out.
Here's your beef merlot, fresh vegetables and potatoes.
Looks lovely.
And here is your fettuccine alfredo with broccoli. Careful, the plates are hot.
Thanks.
Would anyone like some cracked fresh pepper?
No.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Everything looks wonderful.
Great. Your drinks look okay. Is there anything else I can bring you?
No, we're fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. Enjoy.
When serving food items, deliver exceptional service by describing each dish in an appetizing way. This reassures guests that they made a great selection and that their order is correct. A great way to leave a positive impression with guests when serving food is to anticipate their needs as much as you can. Bring condiments such as ketchup and steak sauce to the table before guests have to ask for it. Don't leave the table without making sure guests have everything they need, including drink refills.
Jamaica.
Is your beef merlot as good as I promised?
It's delicious. Thank you.
And isn't the fettuccine outstanding?
Yes, very good, thank you.
Great. I'll be back to check on you guys later.
Thank you.
Return to the table after guests have taken just a few bites of their food. Observe their faces as they look at it and taste their food. When asking about their meal, resist the easy "everything okay" question. You're not striving for things to be just okay. You want to exceed expectations at every point in the guest visit. So check back a few more times as the guests continue their meals and provide consistent service to all of your guests.
You know, I hate to be a bother, but I really wish I just ordered the burger on the menu.
We'll get you the burger. No worries. It'll just take a little bit. We'll bring that to you right away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
Some guests who are dissatisfied with their meals won't hesitate to tell you about it. Others, though, don't want to complain and will keep it to themselves. If you notice a guest who doesn't seem happy with the food you've delivered, be proactive. Find out the issue and offer to fix it. Don't put guests on the spot, but let them know that their satisfaction is your top priority.
I'm so sorry for the delay. Your food will be out soon. Is there anything I can get you in the meantime?
Oh, well, thank you. Maybe stuffed mushrooms?
Yeah? With breading?
Sure.
As much as everyone on the team strives for perfection, delays and mistakes will happen sometimes. Consider these issues as opportunities to make things right and exceed expectations. Follow your restaurant's policies on handling mistakes and other guest service issues, and keep a positive attitude. Never make excuses or place blame on someone else. Stay friendly and accommodating, always letting guests know that their satisfaction is your top priority.
The beach, right in the heart of
Are you still enjoying your fettuccine?
Oh, I'm all done, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, it was delicious.
I'm
Thank you.
glad you guys enjoyed the meal.
Very much.
And I'll get these out of your way for you.
When guests have finished eating, begin to clear the table. Be careful not to remove plates until everyone has finished. If you start to clear early, some guests will feel rushed. Never say something about a guest's plate that may be offensive, like, "Wow, I guess you were hungry," or "Boy, you didn't have much of an appetite." Instead, reinforce positive aspects of their dining experience.
Now we're ready for the best part of the meal. We are featuring our homemade peach pie for dessert, and our raspberry sorbet is delicious. We are also having a great selection on our specialty coffees. What sounds good for you?
When guests order coffee or dessert, make sure they have the flatware and napkins they need to enjoy it. After you serve dessert, check in on the guests again to refill coffee and water glasses and to make sure that they're comfortable for as long as they'd like to stay. Typically, you don't need to clear dessert dishes unless the guests ask you to.
Thanks again. And before we leave you, Katie, I do have a question, and I want you to be honest. This is a safe place. Now, in your experience, both throughout the service industry, as you started as a server and worked your way all the way up, at any point in time, did you ever use the words, "Boy, I guess you were hungry"?
No, I was trained better than that.
No, I didn't think you had. No,
That's good answer.
Thank you so much, Katie. Yeah, so that really was just a wealth of information and knowledge about the proper ways to carry all of your interactions out. And I like something that you said even before we went to this last segment about starting from beginning to end. Like, it is a full process, and making sure that you keep that up. You know what I found when I first started serving years and years ago in the restaurant industry, I would start strong and then I would fade out. Because I would start, I would this great interaction. I would have knowledge of the menu. I would have suggestions. I would suggestively upsell products that I thought would, be good for the guests. I was an amazing server, and then I would find that I would lose a little bit of interest as the meal had progressed, and in truth, after the sale had been made. So you already know what that check total is going to be. stay engaged. That's what I
Right.
had to remind myself to the very end.
And to that point, it was interesting how Katie pointed out that, just as you're serving the plates of food, noticing if the guest, what the guests' faces are. Do they seem dissatisfied? Do they seem like
Sure.
they ordered what they are, that they want, that they're actually going to want what they ended up ordering? And also keeping an eye on that from a distance, I think can help, because I'm one of those people when I dine at a restaurant, if I'm not too satisfied with the food or the taste of it, I usually won't speak up. Usually it takes someone else in my party to speak up for me. But if the server can come in and just check in with those guests more often, making sure that everything is to their utmost satisfaction, I think that will go a long way.
Well said. I think there are many people that find themselves exactly in your position. They don't want to rock the boat. They're looking for a good experience. They're not here to complain. But pay special attention to your tables. The 2-minute check back is incredibly important because your guests have had a chance to taste the food. And oftentimes, I've noticed that it may take just a follow-up question. You certainly don't want to drag, some poor review out of them if they're okay with their meal. You do want them to be a little bit more than okay. You want them to love their meal. You want them to love their food. So even when the answer is, everything's okay, is there any way it could be better? Is there something else I can do?
That's a great response.
I think just making sure that they feel that way and they feel safe enough to say, actually, my steak could be brought up in temperature. Because as a server, you cannot help any situation unless you know. And unless
right.
they feel safe enough to tell you, you're going to be at that impasse and it's going to be the luck of the draw. So we all make mistakes, as Katie said. Ticket times run long. Food can be under or overcooked at times. But if your guests trust you, they'll tell you, and then your job, you're the liaison between the table and the kitchen. And it's up to you, and you have that power to make it right.
That's very good. I like how you said the liaison between the table and the kitchen, because as guests, we wouldn't know how to bridge that gap. So
I have
very
a
important.
Beautiful vocabulary.
Yes, you do, Josh. Well, that was a great episode once again of Service That Sells. We
Yes,
learned a
thank you
whole
so
lot.
much.
On our next episode, we're going to learn how to wrap up the guest's visit.
Do I ever have a trouble wrapping up segments?
You drift a bit, Josh, but that's why I'm here to wrap you up.
I noticed
in
there was
your
a
stories.
kick under the desk here, but I
Just a
didn't.
slight one, just a small one.
Is it time for
So
me to
now
wrap
it is
up?
time for
Okay.
me to wrap up this episode, because next time we're talking about the wrap up for guests when we present the checks. What's that process like? Also making sure that they had a good experience, and if they didn't, maybe bring out a manager, figure out how you can aid them with that, and how can you ultimately make sure that they come back to that restaurant.
That's it.
So again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Sarah Tim.
And I'm Joshua Kiefer. And thank you so much for watching.